from wherever you are, and welcome to our spoiler laden flash review. Repeat, there are spoilers in this review. You know how we do these things. We very rarely do spoiler free reviews. I, of course, am the flasher, and joining me is the reverse flasher, which I think he tucks it between his legs and turns around and gives you a wiggle.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an interesting review because there are two differing opinions here. One of us liked the film, one of us did not like the film. So that being said, before we go into it, Zam, did you or did you not like the film?
I liked the film. Not loved the film. I want to make sure I emphasize that. I liked it. Straight off the bat, I'll tell you that it was a 7 out of 10 for me. You
Okay.
know, there were elements of this film that was like, oh god, this is fucking stupid. You know, and CGI and all of that. But overall, I thought this was better than I expected it to be. And I had a better time with this than I wanted to. I'll tell you that. Like like everything. I'll put my barriers up. Fucking, I'm not the biggest admirer of Ezra Miller, but I think they did a really they used him in a very clever way, in my personal opinion, by maturing him by having a worse version of him to go up against. So in a way that balanced things out a lot better and made him more of a appealing character, but he had to grow up and he wasn't the stupid one like he was in the Justice League. And so those things worked. I thought some of the cliche elements of a film like this was taken out of the equation and things were done slightly differently with all the General Zod stuff and stuff like that. And I very much appreciated all of that as well. And it was nice seeing certain elements of Flashpoint and Red Sun involved in here. And yeah, it was. There was fan service without a doubt, but fan service can be done in a way that is done right. And I felt some of it was done very well, like calling Thomas Curry, I think his name is Arthur Curry's dad. You know,
Mm.
seeing having the cameo of Tamira Morrison was done in the right way, not just fan service, but done smartly, if you know
Yeah,
what I mean. You know,
yeah, one of
and
the
those,
few
those sort of things.
fan
So
services done right.
yeah, yeah. And I thought some
And
of the fan
and
service
it
generally
had
was done right.
it had a funny little reveal as well in that little scene where it's like and you're dating the Queen of Atlantis, and he turns around and sees like this big duffer of a wife on the phone.
Yeah, yeah.
I genuinely laughed at that. I thought that was really fucking funny. It's just like they weren't afraid to go there and just be like, yeah, she's a regular Queen of Atlantis kind of thing. So that was well done. That was a good cameo.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
overall,
uh,
I thought this was much better than I thought it should be. I think it's one of the better DCU movies out there, for sure. Not the best DC film. I mean,
I
I
mean,
mean,
what is
some of
the
the
best?
Batman films.
Like, we have to go the way back to
Yeah,
like the Dark Knight, or
yeah,
well,
mate. Even Christopher Reeve Superman films were better. You know, like
yeah.
Superman 2 is awesome. You know what I mean?
Those
But
placeable, especially the first two.
Yeah. So but within the DCU, this was a much better affair. And if this is going to reset the universe, which a lot of people assume it will do, and some of the things we got in this movie kind of gives you that idea that it has, then yeah, it's a clever way to do so, in my opinion.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, I'm gonna be my usual ginger Greek self. I didn't like this film. I hated it. Um, it was worse than I thought it was gonna be. Like when I was looking at the trailer, I was like, okay, this would be a good ride. But I fucking hated so many things of it. But there are elements that I really did like. And I want to say first off the bat, I, people that know me, I've been banging on about that they filmed scenes of this film just up the road from my house, and they were there for like a couple of days. I think it was like over the weekend, and it turns out that those scenes were a lot bigger and played a very important role, even though it's just a supermarket setting. So the bits inside the supermarket, that was the TFC. It's called Turkish Food something or other. And yeah, it's just up the road from me. But there was none of the exterior shots because they were filming shots of him running in. A lot of like running in, then coming back out, and then running in, so like doing retakes and all this kind of stuff. But they didn't show.
This is where the mum got the tomatoes, yeah?
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
shot.
That bit, yeah, that
Okay.
was filmed just up the road from me. So, but I was afraid because of all the reshoots that they did, because they did a lot of reshoots in this film. I thought that they might cut that scene out and be like, what a waste of like a weekend that would have been. But a lot of the film was shot in England and Glasgow and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I forget about that because a lot of the actors in this film were British. Like obviously you had Sanjeev Pascal, you had
Yeah, what the fuck? I couldn't believe he was in
yeah,
that.
it's the most
Like,
random
what
thing.
the hell is he doing there, man? Like,
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna go, the Flash. He's Indian.
yeah, Indian.
What I mean? Something like that. They give some reason or something like that. I couldn't believe it. His American accent was pretty good, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
shocked. Yeah,
his impressions of like Woody Allen is flawless as well. So
oh, really?
yeah, if you watch Goodness
Well,
Gracious Me again, he does like a Woody Allen impression when he comes in as a Muslim that's converted to being a Jew, but he as he's done
oh
so,
my god.
yeah, he's like, come on, they're the same thing. You like we got kosher, you've got halal. But his accent is his impressions is great. I love Sanjeev Pascal. So seeing him in this, I thought it was a lovely little touch. Yeah, there was the blonde, like the kind of two that kind of pick on Barry at the beginning. The blonde bird from that, she's in Derry Girls. Fantastic
Yeah,
actor.
I recognize that.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a lot of yeah, British actors in this, even the reporters and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I've got to say off the bat, I'm very happy that they didn't call this Flashpoint because I think it would have just been an insult to the comic. So things that I did like off the bat, I will say this: the scenes with Barry and the mother, and I thought the actress that played his mother, she was wonderful in it, and that bit at the end where they have the hug and all that. I found that very touching. That actually made me choke up a little bit because I thought it was like,
Me too.
yeah, it was really well done. That was my favorite part of the whole film. Michael Keaton, fantastic. But it's Michael Keaton. He's one of my all-time favorite actors. He's in like my top 3 favorite actors of all time. So anything he's in, he's always just phenomenal. So it was lovely seeing his Batman come back. And yeah, one or two of the comedy skits were really like really well executed. We've done one with Tamura Morrison, and the other one where he phases through to his neighbors down below and scares the shit out of her because he's butt naked and all this. But that being said, the comedy was well overdone in this. It was too much, and I'd be a hypocrite if I'd be saying that this was okay and other films aren't. It was too much, and it was interrupting certain scenes and all of that. And I just, regardless of personal feelings, I cannot stand. I think Ezra Miller was a bad choice in casting as Barry Allen. He never feels like Barry Allen to me. It just feels like Ezra Miller playing, like
Ezra Miller.
cosplaying as the Flash or whatever. So I didn't like it, but there were some good performances in there with him. But taking that away, it was just generic. It was just nothing special. Like the fights with Zod just kind of felt like they were there and it was hollow and all of that. The good twist, of course, was that no matter what they try, no matter what they do, that universe is meant to be destroyed, or that Earth is meant to be destroyed. But I felt nothing for it. I felt like Michael Keaton's Batman was a little bit wasted. Ben Affleck's Batman was a bit too happy go lucky. Then like the Wonder Woman cameo was kind of thrown in, and I'm guessing Superman was meant to show up at one of those points.
Well, you see, like so often people say, "Well, where's the Justice League? Why aren't they doing this?" You know, when you see certain films, which has got everyone in there, like where's the, like, people always going about where's the Avengers when you see certain films, you think to yourself, okay, the Avengers should be there. You know, what I mean, there's a sentient being coming out the fucking Earth. Yeah, why is
Yeah.
it only the Eternals dealing with it? Where the hell are the Avengers? And what I liked about the opening scene of this movie was that the Justice League were there. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
but Wonder
Superman had some
Woman,
massive thing to do.
Wonder Woman shows up at the end, and it's just like, no, but it's a whole fucking like building is collapsing. There's a massive
Yeah, but
like
you don't know
terrorist
what
thing, and
what's going on. There's so
no, I
many different
suppose,
things going on. You know
yeah.
what I mean? You
But
know, so
is
yeah.
this the worst DC film? No, I don't think it is. After having time to think about it, it's not. I mean, you know, you've got like fucking Batman versus Superman, you've got Aquaman, you've got Black Adam, and I found those had no redeeming qualities whatsoever compared to this one, which had a couple of elements in it. But just ultimately, it was just there was a lot of just stupid shit in it, and the special effects, by far the absolute worst special effects I have seen in a modern film. They
Is
were
it,
abysmal.
I just want to say first of all regarding the comedy, I'm a bit different with you on this one because I felt the comedy. Look, the Flash can be portrayed as a serious character, and he can be portrayed as the comic relief. And I thought some the comedy was warranted to a degree when it came to old Flash, new Flash, you know, and the interactions with each other and all of that. And it felt called for in the way it was portrayed. So I didn't mind that, but at the same time, I thought the film played the serious moments very well. I thought the balance was done a lot better than I expected it to be, especially with the tragedy of his mom and stuff like that, and knowing you might have to sacrifice her in order to restore the world, which is something we've seen in several renditions of the Flash. We've seen it in the TV series, we've seen it in Flashpoint and all of that, how big of a deal his fucking mom is when it comes to the fucking structure of the universe. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You know, and I thought so. So I thought the comedy and the serious moments were done pretty well. Now, regarding the special effects, there's two folds. I thought seeing both Flashes together was done superbly. You know what I mean? Like you almost forgot that they were that they were the same actor, and yet they were side by side all the fucking time. It looked really well, but the special effects and everything else was
Woof.
awful.
Yeah.
It was,
Woof.
yeah, like you know, even little things like when Ben Affleck's Batman is on his bat scooter, bat motorcycle. I mean, you could just tell that was a special effect, and it was so poorly done.
Yeah.
Prop to Christopher Nolan, you know, when at least he fucking does to keep it real, you know. So his bat cycle was the real deal. This current director, sorry, went for the special effects, and you can see the fucking difference.
Yeah.
Big time.
Just in the physics,
And obviously,
so badly executed.
and once you had all these multiverses colliding and stuff like that, my god, it might as well have been a cartoon.
Oh, it was,
You know,
fucking hell. That was awful, and that was the fan service that pissed me off because I was just like, oh, we're just so happy to be showing Superman's and Batman's and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like, what about some random dinner lady that's flashing by that doesn't really hold relevance? But obviously, we know why they did it.
all the fan service that was thrown at us, the one fan service that should have been there that wasn't was Grant Gustin. In some capacity,
Yeah,
he had to be there.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Because Ezra Miller has shown up in Grant Gustin's universe.
And that's when they needed the Flash, because that's when the Flash was super hot, and the Justice League and the DC EU was going downhill, and so in a way they used the Flash for like, you know, for elevation. And now, like with the Flash coming to it, the TV series coming to an end, they're not willing to return the favor. You're all part of the same umbrella, for fuck's sake. You know, Grant Gustin's been going on for like almost 10 years. 10 years, actually, if you include the Arrow, you know, which he
10 years. 10 years.
Yeah.
2013, he first showed up in Arrow.
Yeah.
And
So
him not being in there, they put Jay Garrick in there. Pissed me off. The 1990s movie Flash wasn't in there. You know.
Yeah, he should have been in there. Yeah. Jay Garrick was there, but I don't know who was portraying him.
It was just a CGI character.
It was just a silhouette, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know John Wesley Shipp has played both versions of the Flash. He's played Barry Allen and Jay Garrick. So
that's right. Yeah. but we didn't get that actor in there. It was fucking ridiculous. You know,
Yeah,
we we.
and go on.
I'm trying to think. Like what else they kind of well they didn't really leave out anything relevant.
Well,
They could have put
the,
Ryan Reynolds' Greek Lantern in there just for a laugh, I
well,
suppose.
the lasso of truth, by the way, that moment when Wonder Woman saved Batman and that thug, she has a lasso of truth around him, and this is the moment where the film went in French for us because this was something I think you would have appreciated, but I tried to find out exactly what they said, and Batman was basically spilling his beans to Wonder Woman, saying how much he loves her, but and the fact that he's he's a very tough guy, but he's too afraid to show his emotions, and he also admits that instead of dressing up as a bat, he could be using his wealth to help the city, but he doesn't. He actually said that.
I actually would have applauded that.
yeah. And I was like, wow, I wish I fucking
that would have added an
mean?
extra score to the film alone. So I'm going to add that score,
Yeah,
knowing that he says that. So
yeah.
yeah. So
And that's the sort of comedy that works with Batman in that sense. But the way Joss Whedon tried to do it in Justice League didn't work. But but you throw the lasso of truth.
Yeah,
but you throw the lasso of truth around Bruce Wayne. It doesn't matter who it is, it's going to have an effect on you, and then it can make it quite funny and stuff like that. So yeah, and also the beginning. I'm not sure how you felt about the beginning, saving those babies. Did you like that? The CGI was awful, by the way. Those babies, my God, look like Rugrats.
The CGI was fucking just god awful. I couldn't take it serious. Like I understand, like the Flash, does all the he's like rescue kind of. That's what he does, rescue and recovery, which should be his job because he's quick enough to rescue everyone. But no, I couldn't take that whole series. I like the nurse though. The nurse that was fucking screaming because that poor woman's like proper PTSD after everything that just happened. So that was great.
Yeah,
putting the baby in the microwave, I was just like, oh God.
Now we can compare this to Quicksilver, and you can see like the difference because those films were made years ago now. By the way, like the Days of Future Past and all of that, like
just a decade ago. But that was back when people,
that's still a decade of like lesser technology. Regardless, I mean the technology is always tweaking and improving.
Yeah.
So
the fucking noticed with this film, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Which is my criticism.
Yeah.
Which is my criticism with the special effects because the moving fast whilst everyone else is moving slow, and time differentiation and all of that shit was done so well in those X-Men movies. Whilst here, like when I thought it was clever that he had to feed himself. I like that. I appreciate that because they don't do that too often with Barry Allen. That he's got high metabolism. He needs to constantly be eating. So I very much appreciated that. And so he got the food. He was able to slow down time again and save all those babies. I like the fact that he put a baby in the microwave and all of that. And he did the rescue. He was hoping he'd be appreciated for it, but no, the nurse was freaking out and all of those things. I liked it, but my God, the special effects were so fucking bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. Like
it took me out of it, and I was just like, and again, there was just too much comedy in that scene, given the severity of babies that are falling and all this. But I like the fact that he's talking about, moving people. Again, they took that from with the X-Men as well. It was like I can't move people while I'm running and all of that because it'll just makes them vomit like uncontrollably and all this kind of shit.
But that's what he was doing with the babies.
No, he wasn't running around with the babies. He was placing them in a position where once he speeds up again, they're perfectly placed. Like what I mean is he wasn't running with the babibies. He was just gently placing them so that they all fall into place. He couldn't run with them. He would have killed the poor little things. So that there's that. Let's quickly talk about as well, like the absolute fucking worst attempt at trying to have a relationship element in this film, and that was like the chemistry with him and Iris West was just not there at all. She just,
well, he's awkward though, isn't he?
He's awkward, but I felt nothing there. Like I don't care if they get together or not. There's not this will they, won't they thing, or because there's no chemistry from her, there's no chemistry from him, so it just felt shoehorned in there, and it really just played no relevant role at all. Like it just didn't for me, and I was like, they could have literally just taken all those scenes out, and it wouldn't have made a single difference in the film.
I didn't mind just a little bit of. I think we got as much Iris West as I wanted for this movie. Like we weren't distracted by Iris West too much. Okay, fine. They're bringing them just a little bit closer together now, and at the beginning of the movie, and by the end of the film, they're going to go on their date, which is great. So hopefully, if this does continue in another movie, they're already an established couple by then. So we're not messing around too much
Yeah,
with.
it
I mean,
didn't
look,
bring anything.
they're always going to be. They're like Clark and so they're like Lois and Clark. They're meant to be. Yeah. So like, let's not fuck around with how the relationship's going to pan out. Let's just get them together for the sake of it and move on. And that's what I felt we kind of got with that. And so I'm happy with that. But then we got to the more meatier stuff, which is this whole story mode with him changing time and all of that. So I'm
Yeah,
happy they dealt with it very quickly. In my
yeah.
opinion.
But I thought how they did it. How they did it, where to stop the mum from getting murdered, and we don't even find out who the murderer is. Like, there's no attempt to kind of find out who did it.
I'm happy about that to a degree. And that is obviously it
Yeah,
is this
because
guy.
it leaves it open for something else. Because I mean,
Yeah,
it ends up just being the Reverse Flash anyway, or some shit like that. So
because at first I thought we saw the Reverse Flash when he was in that Speed Force world.
yeah,
I mean, um, so I genuinely thought, okay, that's the Reverse Flash. He just did what he did. But no, we found out obviously that's Barry Allen, and Barry Allen also, by the way, he's one of his enemies is himself from the future as well. His future self is one of his enemies. So I'm happy they went down that particular route and all of that. But
yeah, because I think
not
having
knowing,
Eobard Thorne in it would have just been too much. So having it just be him, I thought that cut down on a lot of needing exposition and backstory and all this kind of shit. But back to the bit I was talking about, how he saves his mum was, I thought, was very cleverly done. Rather than do this whole thing at the house and all this kind of shit, it was just like a simple thing as going to the supermarket, putting a tin of tomatoes in her shopping basket, and then going away. And I thought that was actually really well done, because it really is as simple as that. Because the you know the dad doesn't go back, but then there's the other thing that kind of left me hanging. Is like, just because the dad's gone to the shop, wouldn't a secondary repercussion would have been both of them getting murdered? Because there could have been that. Because just because the dad's gone away, we don't know what happened. How was the murder stopped? So that was
and
left out
also
in the open.
and also like I also felt that with considering the Reverse Flash it's got the exact same powers as the Flash. Like he can still go in there. The dad and the mum doesn't have to be sharing the same fucking space. I mean, he could easily go in there, kill the mum, without the dad even realizing that's happened in the first place, even if he's in the fucking house. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I
So
mean.
yeah,
So there's that element to it, unless, of course, the logical thing would be that it's not the Reverse Flash. It's just some random fucking guy obsessed with the mum, for example, maybe from her dance classes, because obviously we saw her dancing in there, and sees the dad's gone away, so he finds the opportunity to attack her. You could go down that route, but otherwise, again, it was just left unanswered. Like, how does the dad being there stop the murder from happening? Because, like you said, the Reverse Flash being in there wouldn't have mattered. The dad be at the stairs. He could literally come within a flash of an eye, stab her, and go. So yeah,
yeah.
so that was one element. But anyway, after this saves the day, we then get the spaghetti time, which again, it didn't make any fucking sense. I
Oh, with Michael Keaton.
with Michael Keaton being there and all this, because it's like, so
I
he
was trying to
clearly
understand
pissed
the
it off.
spaghetti stuff.
Huh?
I thought they were going to do the line thing that Doc Brown did, which was done so well in Back to the Future too. Yeah, it explained everything. But the
Yeah.
way fucking Michael Keaton did it, I'm not so sure. But I kind of got the grips with it
I
when
got it.
it came to
They did the
yeah.
Marvel thing, which is the logical thing, which is just to say, no, you haven't changed. You haven't changed the future. You've just created a new splinter, which is the logical thing. Because if something's happening, it's going to happen. But what you're doing is you've branched off into another timeline. But that can't be another timeline if Michael Keaton is Batman. It means he's gone into another universe. And that's where they fucked up, because that's essentially what happened. He's gone into another universe, because in this universe dies, and it's the 80. I called it the 89 universe because Batman's Michael Keaton is in that. So all the events that happen there kind of happen around the 80s and all that. So I felt like he's gone into that universe, which, if they'd have done that, then that's when they should have done 1990s Flash. Still be the same actor, but set it in the 90s. So it's like that universe is like 30 years behind kind of thing. But they did this, and this is where it just starts falling apart for me, because I'm like, there's fan service and then there's illogical fan service. The big reveal should have been, which I thought, and some other, I think even you and maybe somebody else alluded to, that should have been Thomas Wayne instead. And then
that really pissed me off, actually.
Yeah,
this is something that pissed me off, because it should have been Thomas Wayne. You know what I mean? Not Bruce Wayne. I think at one moment he's going to reveal himself to be Thomas Wayne, and no, he is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
which was fucking stupid.
And that's where what derailed the film for me. It's just that point there. It's just like, well, he's not saying that he's Thomas Wayne. He's like, why do you keep saying my parents died? And all this, it was my son and my wife that died. But we got and
his wife became the Joker in
or his wife became the Joker because their son died. My son Bruce was killed and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, my wife lost her mind.
Yeah, but, and it was just
there was a couple of things that made me think to myself that he was Thomas Wayne, because when he touched the picture, he kind of touched Bruce on that picture.
Yeah,
like he was the son of, like he was, and also obviously when he was stitching himself, I thought, okay, well, the guy's a doctor. He knows how to do stitches and stuff like that. But no, that wasn't the case. And I was very upset by that. I think they were so desperate to do the fan service, they kept him as Bruce Wayne.
Which is, it's stupid. Like, people would have liked that Batman, but would have understood, because then they'll be like, well, why is he Thomas Wayne? They'll be like, well, you have to read the comic book. And then people would have been like, okay, fair enough. Because in the comic book, that reveal was fucking incredible. But here, it just what derailed the film for me. And it's just like, now we're not time jumping, we're universe jumping. And it's just like, for fuck's sake. But the universe jumping thing was a deliberate ploy to do all the fan service stuff. And speaking of, then we have this thing where Zod enters the planet, and then we get a little backstory of the Flash was around them, but he couldn't do much to save like people and all this kind of stuff.
Was he also in Gotham as well, in the same place that Bruce Wayne was in? It looked like it.
Yeah.
From Batman versus Superman.
Yeah. So. Like retconning that situation. It's just like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. But in this universe, we don't have Superman at all, which was, how to kind of
we found out why.
Write Cavill out the film, which they should never have done. That was the biggest mistake.
Well, it's just that particular universe that Zod found him and killed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So as a
they
baby,
found him,
like,
they killed him, and then they're like, anyway, it turns out there's another one, and then we had obviously Supergirl, who I thought was really good in it. I liked her. She's hot as hell.
Yeah, me too.
A gothic Supergirl, right up my alley. Thank you very much. But I thought her acting was fantastic. With the emotion she showed, like especially when she finds out about what happened to Clark Kent or Superman, I thought it was great, and that kind of raw power. And then I did like the twist where it comes in, and then it's like she dies. No matter what you do, she dies, and this universe is destroyed, and Batman dies, and all this kind of stuff. And I like those elements. See, those are surprises that I will always love in film.
This is what I liked about the film as well, Ginger, because it didn't go with the cliche big boss battle at the end where they're gonna all band together and beat Zod. I thought that's where it was going, and
No, me too. To be fair, me too. But I'm with you with this. I like that they didn't go down that route.
yeah, so he had to
Yeah.
use his other powers, and he was constantly time traveling to rectify things, and he realized that no matter what happened, Kara's gonna always die at this particular moment. And so the only way to change that was to obviously make sure that his mum lived, and that's when him and the younger Barry had their problems, and that's when we come across old Barry.
That conflict as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was well done. Where we start seeing younger Barry, because it made sense. Story wise, it made sense. He's young, he's brash, he's thinking he could save it, he could change everything, but
and also, but you saw the character, you saw the personalities as well. Like older Barry not having a mum around and his dad going to jail, it kind of made him go within himself. And you see younger Barry, who's had a good family life. He's very confident, happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean? A little bit brash and all of that sort of stuff. You can see that they were two totally different people brought up by a circumstance, that one experienced that the other person didn't. And that's made them who they are. I also want to bring up the fact how young Barry got his powers. I like the fact for a little while older Barry lost his powers for a bit, and they did play on the fact on how Ezra Miller's Flash runs, and so when he's trying to run around and like you see him doing that run
into that building.
Yeah, and so like he's trying to like go fast again, and he can't, and all of that sort of stuff. I very much like that, and I'm very happy that they brought his powers back, and they did exactly what they did in Flashpoint.
Yeah,
once again made me
same place, same setting.
Was it Thomas? Yeah, and all of that, and eventually he did get his powers back and stuff like that. Also, when young Flash got shot in the leg, I expected his leg to heal pretty quick, but he didn't. He was limping a lot longer than he should have, in my opinion.
Yeah. Which was again a plot convenience, which was again just added to the thing. Also, like with Supergirl as well, there was a lot of just back and forth and coming to conclusions too quickly and all this kind of stuff. And I think they glossed over her a bit too much. Where I know it's a Flash film, but they could have meted out her because she was thoroughly enjoyable. Like if you did a Supergirl film with her in it, like, well, depends who's fucking doing it, because you know what DC's like. But let's say let's say that this universe continues, and then I don't even know how it'll fucking work, to be honest, because she's dead. But it seems like it's a shame because really good actress, really
well.
Good.
I mean, look, it depends. And back in their universe, eventually she can end up on Earth in a.
Oh pod. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
she could be being held at the same facility, even on Barry's universe. So so let's talk a little bit about all the fan service that we've got in the splitting of that universe. I know we kind of alluded to Jay Garrett, but we also got Nicolas Cage's Superman fighting the giant spider.
That was hilarious.
Which was funny.
It was a scorpion, wasn't it?
No, it was a spider, giant spider.
Okay.
Because John Peters, the guy that started my hatred for producers, it all goes back to John Peters, was obsessed with spiders, and he wanted Superman to fight a great big giant spider. It would have been Brainiac in a giant spider kind of robot thing.
I mean, unless Superman doesn't want to kill it, fighting a giant spider would be like, like brushing off a spider off your fucking shoulder. You know what I mean? It would be no problem for someone like Superman.
Exactly.
Exactly. I did laugh, and it made me actually wish to see whatever scenes were shot with Nicolas Cage. I want to see it so fucking badly. You know what I mean? Anything they got, you know what I mean?
If you watch the making of, you can see some of the stuff, but they didn't really get very far in the production. Like a lot of the time that they spent was making the suit and all this kind of stuff, and they were ready to start production, then they just stopped. I'll see if I can find the making of, and I'll send it to you, because there's a lot of footage in there over it.
Fair enough.
Then we got. Sorry,
but let me give you a bit of fan service. Yeah, Eric Stoltz playing Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
That was see, that's smart fan service, man. That's smart. Like it was like the world is so fucked up. Yeah, that fucking Eric Stoltz ended up playing Marty McFly. He didn't get fired, and Michael J. Fox ended up in Footloose, and Kevin Bacon was in Top Gun.
Top Gun,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's brilliant. Man. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
Love
those
that.
little elements were great. You know, that they're kind of fun.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, you do cheat. You don't know what you want, mate. You don't know what you want. You know
All
what
of
I
us
mean?
want to see Nick Cage as Superman.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
already played fucking Ghost Rider. Bring him a Superman for
Yeah,
fuck's
bring
sake.
him in as Superman. Fuck it. He plays an
Yeah.
older Superman in Kingdom Come. Oh my god, that would be fucking hilarious. That would blow Cheeto's brains. We got Christopher Reeve and Blondie Supergirl.
I'll go. I'll find the name for you. Give me a sec.
Thank you. Yeah. So we had that. We had obviously 60s Batman pop up. We had 1940s Superman, the very first kind of Superman TV series.
It's George Reeves, I believe.
George Reeves, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, George
Yeah,
Reeve, and I think
Reeves,
yeah,
sorry. And Ben
and
Affleck
the
played
Reeve
him
and
in the
Chris
film.
Reeve without the not pluralized. Helen Slater played
Oh,
Kara
Helen
Zor-El
Slater, yeah, that's
in
it.
yes.
Nope, Ghost Rider is a little different than Superman. Yeah, Ghost Rider sucked, whereas that Superman would have been awesome. Yeah, we got obviously we've got Jay Garrick Flash.
Did we get Dean Kane at all?
No, we
I can't
didn't.
remember. Okay.
No, that was it. That was
No
another one
Dean
we could
Kane.
have got. Yeah, yeah. I know he's batshit crazy, but it still would have been nice to see him and Terry Hatcher. As there again, we didn't get CW Flash. We didn't get Green Lantern. We didn't get 70 Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. We didn't get that. So they left out some iconic.
Someone in the early
characters.
'90s made a really good Justice League poster of Christopher Reeve Superman, Linda Carter's Wonder Woman,
Michael Keaton's Batman.
Michael Keaton's Batman, and John Wesley Shippers the Flash. And oh my god, imagine if those four got together. But they were almost at the same time. I mean, Linda Carter would have been a little bit older, and so would have Christopher Reeve. But you could have made it work.
You could have made it work because Linda Carter. I mean, she was very young when she did Wonder Woman. I think she was on like.
She still looks great now, man.
And she still looks fucking amazing.
Fantastic.
Like if you look at what she looked like in the '90s, she could have easily done Wonder Woman. Christopher Reeve still looked chiseled like a god in the '90s. So I mean, if you watch Noises Off, which was around 1993, he still looks fucking incredible. So they could have easily have done that. They could have done it as Kingdom Come.
He was one of the first actors to like physically train for a role.
That's right. Yeah.
But he wanted to beef up because he was quite skinny.
Yeah.
So he muscled up for Superman, and it became a common thing after that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, he did it before it was a thing. That's right, and he chose to do it. I know because they were all saying like it's a bit too skinny. It's like, don't you worry about that, man. I'm gonna bulk the fuck up. But I mean, we've been a bit all over the place with this film, but that's the funny part. And then, we go back, and then we have the best scene in the whole film, and I think it's one of the best scenes of a DC film for sure. That's when he goes back and puts it right, and has to say goodbye to his mother, and that was beautifully done. And then after that, things go back to normal, and we get the absolute most cringe cameo of all.
I liked it.
Clooney as Batman.
I liked it as Bruce Wayne, and I liked it because we all knew that oh god, why Ben Affleck wanted to get off this ship, and credit to Ben Affleck that he still did a couple of more Batman appearances in doing some additional scenes for the Snyder film. And obviously this, so credit to him that he did do a little bit more, but he really wanted to get off this bandwagon, and they've done it in a way that
not
I appreciate.
Necessarily, because Ben Affleck is open to coming back as Batman, and they should fucking bring him back as Batman. Like, I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I like him as like his Bruce Wayne is really good as well.
Bruce Wayne is brilliant.
Yeah, and they should
I
bring
like a
him back.
cocky, arrogant Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. But if they
There's a
bring
comment
this
here
one
from
back,
Cheeto.
I don't want fucking George Clooney now being the canon. But that's what makes me think. What's that? Yeah, fucking Grant Gustine CW put. Yeah, ridiculous.
They didn't return the favor. They should have. Like, it was almost like they were embarrassed to put him in there for some reason. He's
Yeah,
been the Flash for a fucking decade. You know what I mean?
and he's a fucking great actor,
Yeah.
and he should be taking the mantle away from Ezra Miller.
Yeah, for sure.
If I'm being honest, but yeah, if they carry on with this universe, if they do more of this, because if it does work at the box office, there's rumors that it do. Now we're gonna have to deal with fucking George Clooney as Batman, and it's just like I'm hoping that they don't do anymore because Ezra Miller's a piece of shit, and that he now needs to just disappear forever.
George Clooney is funny in a way because George Clooney as Bruce Wayne, I liked. George Clooney as Batman, I didn't like. You know,
and I'm sure
I'm
sure. Look, okay, if we're being honest, outside of John Peters is bullshit, because again, this was John Peters' Batman. George Clooney will be brilliant as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. Okay, he will be. It was just unfortunate that at the time, the guy that owned fucking Batman and Superman was a complete moron, and he wanted everything toys and to appeal to kids, and that's why you got bat cards and bat nipples and campy fucking 60s shit, and it destroyed Joel Schumacher's career as well. Which this was the guy that gave us Falling Down, and he was just cucked into doing this crap. But so it can work. I'm not saying it won't work, but I'll be honest with you. I want this Flash done. I want the Snyderverse done. Let's just move on, reset everything. I hope James Gunn isn't too heavily involved in every project. He just lets creators be creative because that's what works. And I have a funny feeling that that's what he's going to do. Just let people create because he'll understand the frustration of having to deal with dickhead producers. So let's see moving forward. Yeah, I mean,
I just want I want more. I want more of the Flash as a character because nearly everybody else, when it comes to how they operate, it's might makes right. And so whether it be Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, or Superman, they're gonna punch their way out of every fucking situation. So it's very refreshing to see somebody who has to use his speed and his agility and his cunning and time travel as well, maybe to reverse, pun intended, situations. And I want to see more of that from my like alternative ways of doing things.
Just a new actor.
Yeah,
just new. We're gonna get more Flash. Look, I mean, we're definitely gonna get more Flash.
I like the Flash a lot. I like the Flash a lot. Yeah,
me too. I mean, Grant Gustine did a fucking great job carrying what a fucking ridiculous show it had become. But like the first series was just one of the best first series to a show ever, I thought, and it was brilliantly done. And I think Grant Gustine deserves to be, elevated, promoted to the upper echelons, and should carry the torch. Because anyone that just disregards him in the same way, it disregards him as a relevant part of the comic book world is stupid. Because people look at Hugh Jackman, they see Wolverine. They look at Christopher Reeve, they see Superman, they see Cavill, Superman. To not see Gustine as the Flash is ridiculous to me, and so he deserves the recognition that he
like 200 episodes or so close to of playing the Flash. He needs to they need to cement this guy. It's a shame that they haven't, because the guy works diligently for 10 years making this series. He doesn't go off the handle. He seems to be the right sort of person you want as an actor to promote stuff politically and all of that stuff too.
Yeah.
And then you got Ezra Miller, who's all over the fucking place. He can't fucking keep his shit together. I mean, they should have changed him. I mean, what he did to that young girl in Iceland when he strangled her, you know what I mean, all of that. And this was before they even started filming this movie. Yeah. And then so it wasn't surprised that he's fucking kidnapping a woman and fucking breaking into people's homes and shit like that. Like, the guy is just he's a liability, and I'm done. I'm done with liability actors. I really am. Like,
We're
if you
getting
can't keep
too
your shit
many of
together,
them. Yeah, we're
yeah,
getting too many of them.
yeah.
Now it's okay. In the studio's defense, not with Ezra Miller because the warning signs were there, but in terms of Jonathan Majors and Huerta, Tenoch Huerta, and all of that. Well, we don't know with Tenoch Huerta yet. We don't know. There's just accusations made, so I won't comment on that one. But with Jonathan Majors, how you meant to know? The guy's a fucking brilliant actor. I love the dude. I thought it was fucking amazing in everything he's been in and all of that. But it just turns out to be a complete nut job. But then I would say that even if it can be at the detriment of somebody's future, that if you're gonna cast people in major roles like that, it's maybe do a little bit of a background check with other people that they've worked with to kind of get an understanding of what they're like. Because even I mean the red flags for what's her name? You know, married Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. The red flags were there way before she did Aquaman. You know how abusive and manipulative she was in relationships. They were all there. Okay, all the red flags were there, and they still cast her in a huge film like that.
I
So
mean, it's strange in a way, but like, even if they're not like being abusive, like they could be a bit fucking doolally. Like, how do you feel about people like Gina Carano and what's her face from Black Panther, who played
well,
T'Challa's
look, I
sister?
mean, they're benign because it's just they have wrong opinions about things, and you know, I wouldn't cast them out on the political views, but Gina did overcross the line because of the Nazi thing, you know, when she
The Nazi
compared.
thing?
Yeah, no, not the Nazi thing. When she compared, sorry, what Republicans are going through to what Jews went through, and all that. I think that's
Oh,
a line you don't
with the
cross.
mask mandates.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
mask
yeah, yeah,
mandates and all
yeah,
this
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Fucking
That,
stupid.
yeah, that was a line you don't cross. But if
Yeah,
she's a
yeah,
Trump fan, if she, you know,
yeah.
if she has weird, I wouldn't hold that against the person because I'm like, as long as you don't do harm to other people or denigrate another group, then that's fine. But she did. She belittled what happened to the Jewish people and put some faux victimization on a group of hateful bigots that are causing all the problems in the fucking world, quite frankly. And that's just a line you don't cross. With Letitia Wright, I think her name is, don't care. Like, if you're anti-vax, I don't care if you're anti-vax. I've got friends that are anti-vax, and it's just like, if you don't want to take your vaccine, don't take your vaccine. Just take your precautions. Don't be an arsehole and have respect for people's space. You know, she is no different to a lot of the dumb fucks that demographic. My demographic included, like Greeks, Turks, Afro Caribbean. Well, no, actually, not Africans. You know, like Caribbean and all this kind of stuff, Turks, all that. That buy too much into conspiracy theories. Okay, it's too prevalent within my demographic in London, unfortunately, and that's because of social media and what it pushes. So they're just on the wrong path, and then you know, I wouldn't hold that against them and their career because if we look at Letitia Wright's performance in Black Panther 2, it was phenomenal. Like, she was excellent in it. And so I wouldn't hold their personal views against them as long as they're not damaging or a danger to particular groups. So that's my thoughts.
I don't get this. Zam logic, Republican or Trump are equal, don't hire. I never. He thinks this is why he doesn't know me. I think to myself, how, what the fuck? Like, you know, like Democratic. I do not think that whatsoever. I just think that when it comes to Republicans generally, they are far worse in every demographic. You know, Democrats to me just seem to be a better of both evils, but that still means that they are evil to a degree. You know what I mean? Because there are a lot of them are corporately bought, but
They're just
Democrats are
capitalists
far
with good
better.
social values. That's it.
Yeah. So, but at least they're not wanting to shit on fucking gay people and like what the one that Sanders is doing now, who's now going to put any sexual, if you are committed for a sexual crime against a minor, you'll be put to death. And so apparently, two women were kissing at a mini golf course, you know, just a little peck on the cheek. a woman saw it and then said that they were committing a sexual crime against their daughter because her daughter saw them kissing as well, and now those two women could be put to death. That's a fucking Republican for you, dude. You know what I mean? There's a big fucking difference, dude. Big fucking difference. Yeah. So please don't ever think that I'm fucking team Democrat. I'm team left wing. That's what I am. And the Democrats are fucking center right, but they are the better choice in your fucking two-party system every day of the fucking week.
Yeah.
Every
but
day.
That being said, again, I personally don't hold people's political views against them. Again, like I said, if they come out and they're clearly bigoted, fuck off. Okay, it's the 21st century. There's no room for that kind of shit. But if they're just like, oh, freedom this, don't tread on me, I want my guns, or I don't care, because like Tim Allen and Kelsey Grammer, two actors I absolutely love, they're right wing. James Woods, batshit crazy, he's right wing, but he's one of my all-time favorite actors as well.
John Voight.
Yeah, John Voight, batshit crazy. I don't like John Voight anyway. Even as a person, he's just a shitty person. But I don't hold his views against him. Like, people want to hire him and all that. What about the guy? I forget his name, but he's in everything. You know, those beautiful, piercing blue eyes that he has. And I think he's been in like The Arrow as well. He's got like grayish hair. Went from blonde to gray, and he's like a strict Catholic. And he won't kiss other women on
Kevin Sorbo.
No, not Kevin Sorbo. No, he's he's got the most beautiful eyes you've ever seen. And
he played Damien something. I see him in a few things.
Yeah, but he played in a lot of things. But yeah, like
he was in Star Trek First Contact as well. He got turned into a Borg.
Yeah.
I never knew he was like that.
He's a very
Damien Dark. He played Damien
conservative,
Dark,
like Christian and all of that. But he's a very lovely guy, easy to work with, and a lot of people get on with him. But there are certain things that he won't do on screen, and he said it's probably been to the detriment of my career, which is certain things that he wouldn't do, like with nudity, sex scenes with other women, and all this kind of stuff, and one or two other things and all of that. But it's just like that takes nothing away from him. He's a phenomenal actor, and you hire him in things because he's very easy to work with, and a lot of people hire him because he's easy to work with and get along with, and doesn't let his views kind of, get in the way. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of surprised though that with some of these actors, like when you work in an industry like Hollywood, which is very diverse and you're all over the fucking world, and you come across people with different backgrounds and different sexual orientations and shit like that. I thought that would liberalize you to a degree, that you could see things a bit more broad. You could be a bit more broad-minded about things.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that they can, still remain in that conservative shelf after all of that interaction.
That's probably 10% of Hollywood is conservative in terms of like actors and all of that, producers and all of that. I don't know, but in terms of like actors and all that, it's such a small amount of them that it's not relevant, because the vast majority of them are either liberal or left wing. We see like we even see like fucking people like James Van Der Beek, who I would have thought would have been like a conservative because of all his like pro-Americana stuff that he posts all the time, and he's just like, no, I'm just pro-democracy. Like, Democrats should be holding debates against Biden, primary him and all this kind of shit and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, yeah, man, fucking James Van Der Beek, he gets it, he understands it, and he's just like, look, people know my politics. My politics are very much about, he's kind of center left on his politics, but it's like you never fucking expect it if you saw his stuff. But he's standing in solidarity with the writers and the writers' strike and all this kind of shit. And so you just don't know what you're gonna get. Some people surprise you, and others don't. Kelsey Grammer surprised me. I didn't realize but he's a classical conservative. Just
I think he plays quite he'd be playing a liberal guy in Frasier for such a long time.
That's it, exactly.
You almost forget that he's an actor and that he's not really Frasier.
But he's a classical conservative, like a kind of, I hate to say it, but like a Reagan era conservative, but not with the bigotry and hatred of minorities.
This is why I found like Kevin Sorbo and Dean Cain to be so bizarre, because they were involved in what we would call like woke productions nowadays. With stuff like Supergirl and all of that. They were in those shows. He was in Hercules, which was quite liberal as well. It was very surprising.
Well,
That he.
not that
I almost feel that
surprising.
part of it. I do feel like part of it
carry
with Kevin Sorbo is a little bit of like, okay, this is me, like this is who I am now. I got to stick with it to a degree. You know what I mean?
Kevin Sorbo has a history. Like if you look at Lucy Lawless and the stuff she said about him, about the production of Hercules and all that, and he's just a fucking self-serving narcissist, and self-serving narcissists always tend to lean to the right, or the majority of times tend to lean to the right, and are Christian fundamentalists or religious. And Kevin Sorbo was no surprise. Of course, he's going to play a great big giant white supremacist in Hercules, and Dean Cain's going to play a white supremacist wet dream in Superman, and all this kind of stuff. So it's not really that surprising. It's like watching, like if you watch like My Name Is Earl, the entire cast are Scientologists in that. Every actor in that, and the director, everyone. The director only hired fellow Scientologists. So everyone you see in that is a Scientologist. It's just one of those bizarre things. But anyway, that was our review of The Flash. Where he went straight into politics, which if you know me and Zam, we always love man into politics. We love it. I could fucking do it all day. And that's
how we started on YouTube.
That's how we started on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. We went after the religious fans. Well, that wasn't me, but I followed people that did all of that. I just did poetry and random shit. But that being said, we're going to bring this to an end. Thank you, Cheeto, for joining us.
What did you give The Flash, by the way? I guess
I didn't give it an initial rating when I first reviewed it, but upon reflection, I'd give it a whopping 2 out of 10. That's the best I can give it. Yeah, that's the best I can give it. And those marks go for the 2 bits that I highlighted that I liked. I mean, the special effects alone should be fucking minus 100. But I agree. You give it a 7 out of 10. Just to reiterate, just to remind people, if anyone's still watching us after 1 hour of awesome chat, in my opinion. And we'll bring that to a close. The Reverse Flasher, thank you for joining me. I, of course, am the Flasher, and I'm about to go flash my neighbors and get arrested. And Zam's about to tuck his between his legs and do a little wiggle for us. And on that note, let normality resume. Bye.
Adios.